The Greenskins' armies are comprised of a wide variety of creatures. Giants, trolls, squigs, wolves, and many other things. But all tribes are formed around a hard-fighting core of orcs and goblins. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the primitive and wild subspecies of the Greenskins, the Savage Orcs. The Savage Orcs come from a time where their race had no means of manufacturing armor, metal weaponry, or war machines. Their tools were made of wood, stone, and other raw and rudimental materials. The green-skinned brutes lived as hunters, where a full day of fighting huge mammoths and other savage creatures, and eating them for dinner was by far the proper way of living. Eventually, they encountered other races, most of them more technologically advanced and better equipped than themselves. When they defeated them by way of wild force and brutality, they fought over the captured gear, with the most powerful orcs having the first rights to handpick any spoils of war they wanted. Looted gear was hotly contested, and over time, orcs began bearing and even crafting more armor and weapons with increasingly advanced materials. Although they remained basic creations, they were superior when compared to the raw materials they originally used to wage war and protect themselves. However, some tribes of orcs, or shall we say savage orcs as they are now known, have kept their old ways of living and preferred making their own gear with materials such as bone, wood, and stone. The savage orcs make use of war paint as a form of distinguishing themselves amongst other tribes, and also as protection against their enemies. These tattoos are always bestowed by the tribe's shamans, who would draw crude glyphs and wild shapes into their skin. Though based mostly on superstition, the war paint has been noted to work on several occasions, where blows seem to magically bounce or shear off, leaving the skin completely unharmed. Although the savage orcs openly express their preference for the old ways of living, it is said that they cannot craft any type of iron-made weaponry. Not necessarily because they choose not to do so, but because they lack the intellect necessary to craft any more than basic armaments. It is commonly believed that these savage orcs are the result of an overexposure to extreme heat, which would gradually damage the already small brain of an orc, until its intellect becomes primitive, even by the standards of other greenskins. As a result, the arid landscapes of the Badlands are infamous for having the largest population of savage orcs within the whole world. Savage orcs have a particular disdain for hygiene. They do not really care or waste time on these matters. Their ragtag appearance, the strange totems they adorn themselves with, and the outlandish war paint they put on their faces give them a raw and primitive look. Savage orcs are also known to wear fur taken from the hides of hunted animals. These clothes have been known to help distinguish themselves from other tribes of savage orcs, and they offer light protection. They are often ridiculed by other greenskins due to their strange and disparate looks. But their appearance is not the only thing that is wild, for the savage orcs drum and chant themselves into a bloodthirsty rage before they go into battle. When the time for fighting comes, they do so with a ferocity that more than earns them their right to adorn themselves with whatever oddities they please. Due to their low intellect, a savage orc is an unpredictable yet ferocious fighter. Once engaged in combat, savage orcs fight furiously with their clubs and stone axes, often wielding their weapons uncontrollably in the thick of the fighting. The savage orc biggins are amongst the fiercest and biggest fighters of their kind. They are often marked with the most outlandish war paint, and they bear a larger amount of bangles, shrunken heads, and other fetishes to show for their status. The most violent and powerful leaders amongst these savage warriors are known as war bosses. These individuals have to fight against all other challenging members of their tribe if they want to establish themselves as their rightful rulers. Any orc or goblin who opposes and questions the right of the leader to rule must be killed or driven into submission. The savage orcs, superstitious as they are, see shamans as living conduits of Gork and Morg, the gods of the greenskins. The savage orcs observe the rituals the shamans practice, and they have seen their fury unleashed in battle. What erupts from the shamans are spells as brutal as the orcs themselves, and in this way, they have earned their place amongst many orc tribes. Amidst the jungle ruins of the Southlands, a tribe of savage orcs unwittingly opened a rift into the realm of chaos, and demons poured forth into the world. The orcs screamed at the top of their lungs as they surged toward the foe in a tidal wave of destruction. At the height of the ensuing battle, a third army of lizardmen and giant reptilian creatures emerged from the jungle to join the fray. Unsure of what to do, and not liking the look of either opposing army, the greenskins slaughtered everyone with an outburst of violence and wild fighting. Using whatever materials they could find, the victorious tribe erected a giant idol of gore atop the nearby arcane ruins, sealing the breach. The idol still stands to this day.
Thank you for watching. On this channel, we're putting together fan-made cinematic episodes featuring historical and fantasy battles based on the settings from the Total War series and, of course, good old World of Warhammer. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and hit the notification button to be the first to watch the next battle.